rains heavily, I can't come to school because I fear to fall in those holes.
Due to climatic changes, we are still seeing people are dying or their life expectancy is reducing. For example, in Uganda, the life expectancy prior to today was 62, but now the life expectancy is at 45. You can imagine. Due to climatic changes, environmental degradation, that's a negative effect.
One time, I asked my she's my grandmother, asked her, as I see there are very many houses, there are trees in these areas. So she was like, okay, trees were cut, there are very many. And I can give an example for Owino Market there. There are very many trees and I think it was a swamp. But now you can see when it rains, the place is flooded just because they carried out that deforestation. But if it wasn't the case, I think our country would have been better with that good climate.
Now, for example, my grandma, when I was still a kid, she told me that in those days, their days, they used to have very many trees in their areas because they lived in villages. But now people carry out deforestation in order to build their industries, and those industries have pollution. They destroy the environment. Now she told in their days they used to have very heavy rainfalls. But look at our days. We take a full month without receiving rain.
To me, climate has affected me personally because of increased food prices. The old people talk about climatic changes because where they expected dry season, it's wet season, and where they expected rainy season, it's dry season, especially in Uganda region.
I talk of the poverty. You see, in Uganda, my background of my family, the background of my family is slated on what? On farming. When the climate changes, you see that the days of all the seasons of harvesting, the plants are ever dry. So that is a loss, which leads to what? To poverty.
As I see the climate today in Uganda is really affectious in different ways. For example, when we look back in the old days, we used to receive enough rainfall and we could yield highly. We could export our agricultural products in plenty, and we could also earn a lot of profits. But nowadays things have changed. Of course, there is a lot, because one day I asked my father. I asked him that, "Oh, father, why is it that whenever it rains, it looks like this? Why is it that the roads here get flooded?" And to my surprise, he told me that, daughter, this was a swamp. We just came here after the war. We just constructed here houses. We reclaimed the swamp which was in existence, and now those are the things we are facing today.
You can find that the prices have increased in that you can buy a banana plant at 20k, let me say, because even in the long ago, as I said, they used to buy a banana, even they didn't buy, they used to plant for themselves. But nowadays, the price is increasing. That's price fluctuation. The price fluctuation, and during the days of our grandmas, as I say, they used to have, they used to plant a good number of crops, as in, let me say, banana plantations. They used to have very many banana plantations, but as nowadays, you don't have places where to plant crops.
Climate change has affected my area because when there is sunshine and there is that kind of wind, when that wind sweeps away that topsoil when you're there. That soil can easily enter your nose and you can be affected by cough.
Old people. I one day asked my grandmother about how the climate of their age used to be, but what she answered she said that we had a really good climate, but I don't know what happened to these days. I think you were cast by God. Even I laughed. I said, how can we be cast by God?
If I was at a Rio conference, I would present the following ideas to the government officials. Now, you see, we have this negative problem. If I was a minister, it would be difficult for me to construct or to establish transport routes in very densely populated, very densely forested equatorial areas. Now I could advise the government to construct all-weather roads to improve on the transport networks in weather roads.
I could tell the leaders, especially the industrialized nations like USA, to recycle and to treat waste products, which bring those waste products they produce smoke, which affects the ozone layer. And even these rural developing countries, for example, Uganda, they should put projects of planting trees to encourage people to plant trees.
If I was in the Rio conference in Brazil, I would tell leaders to at least put strict laws against deforestation and some other activities, and at least to educate the people about the importance of these trees in our environment.
I would tell them that they should not only focus on replanting trees, but there are also other measures that can improve or modify the climate. For example, planting palm grass, putting limits on the fertilizers used, because at times the fertilizers are sold well expired, and the moment you apply them, the land is exhausted, the nitrogen fixing bacteria is also killed. At the end of it, even though you replant trees, they also won't grow well. And they should also teach the rural people good family planning measures or methods so as to reduce the number of children born each day. That will provide enough room for the plantation of trees, if they are to plant, instead of cutting trees, for the new generation or population in an area.
I would tell the global leaders at the Rio Summit that they should encourage those people who practice deforestation. When they carry out deforestation, they plant other trees to avoid climate changes and to stop, to put strict laws against those people who are fond of cutting trees, building industries, building schools, and not carrying out swamp reclamation, so that they destroy the aquatic animals which live in those swamps. Those animals die when they carry out swamp reclamation.
If I was at the Rio conference, I would tell the leaders to be exemplary, not even exemplary, but the quintessentials. They must be the perfect examples. If you tell someone that you have to plant a tree, then why don't you even plant one, so that the people can just take that example that our leaders planted, then who are we not to plant trees?
Advise them to clarify more to more people, because there are many people like illiterate people that do not know about climate. For them, they care about their interest. If I catch fire, that's what I need. Cook food, that's all. But if they start encouraging people from the last one, an illiterate one, to us who are now elites, there will be a development in climate And there are some methods that will be used like garbage. This garbage, it should not be burned because there is biogas from it, and that biogas may improve on the climate.
If I were to be at Rio, or the message that I would have for the delegates attending the Rio conference, I would want to stress the fact that we've seen many conferences around. I mean, Rio will not be the first of its kind, but the problem is to do with implementation. They have lots of things that, I mean, lots of resolutions that they've always passed, but they do not implement them. And as long as they don't implement what they put down, then I think these conferences are always a waste of time. So implementation is the greatest thing that should be tackled. They should not just discuss issues and then leave them there on the tables.
My climate hero will be the founder of Educated Club, because he had encouraged us about many things like afforestation that will lead to formation of rainfall, and this will lead to growth of many trees and what have you that will improve on the climatic status.
My hero, I just start from at home. I have my parent has a forest, very big forest. We have unoccupied land where there is no one settled there. Well, that's my parents get that plant a very big forest.